Life is a big school. We all have to learn.
This time, Eurystheus assigned Hercules the difficult task of capturing the three-headed dog Cerberus alive from the kingdom of Hades and bringing him back. Knowing that this task was beyond his abilities, Hercules prayed to Zeus for help. Zeus sent Hermes to guide him through the underworld, and Athena, the goddess of wisdom, accompanied him to protect the great son of Zeus. Hercules went through the plain of Laconia and descended into a deep abyss at Cape Tainaron to enter the underworld. The old man Charon demanded payment for ferrying him across the river, but Hercules just raised his fist and everything was fine. As soon as he entered the dark kingdom of Hades, Hercules witnessed a very sad scene. The hero Theseus and his companion Pirithous were chained to a rock called the Chair of Forgetfulness. When he asked about it, Hercules learned the following story. Pirithous, the king of Thessaly, who ruled over the Lapiths, was jealous of the famous hero Theseus and his many legendary exploits. The king wanted to test his own might against Theseus by stealing his cattle and challenging him to a fight. Pirithous wanted to see if the rumors about this hero were true or not. Of course, Theseus accepted the challenge, but when the contest began, Pirithous lost his courage to participate. The king lowered his weapon, surrendered to Theseus, and offered to serve him as his loyal companion. However, it is said that it was not Pirithous who asked for mercy, but he bravely fought against Theseus and lost, then asked to befriend Theseus. The other day, somehow the devil led the way, and the two friends went down to the underworld to plan a great deed, to steal Persephone, the wife of Hades. Their violent action was punished by the gods. They were chained to the rock for years on end. After hearing this story, Hercules drew his sword and freed Theseus from his chains. But when he turned to Pirithous, the ground suddenly shook and trembled. Hercules knew that the gods were showing their disapproval. He dared not release Pirithous any further. He continued into the world of the dead. The shadowy shades of the dead saw him and fled in fear. But one shadow stayed behind, waiting for him to approach. It was the soul of Meleager, the son of King Aeneas and Queen Althea, who ruled the kingdom of Ladon. Meleager died with a lot of bitterness in his heart. When he was born, his mother invited the Moirai, the goddesses of fate, also called the Parcae, to visit. The goddesses prophesied to Althea about her son's future. Clotho said that Meleager would grow up to be a brave hero full of courage and valor. Lachesis said that Meleager would have extraordinary strength that few could match. And Atropos said that Meleager would live as long as a piece of wood burned in that hearth. As soon as that piece of wood burned out, Meleager's life would end. After hearing this prophecy, Althea was afraid and quickly put out the piece of wood and carefully hid it in a chest. Meleager grew up strong as a wolf, brave as a bear. He and many other heroes went hunting for the fierce wild boar that often ravaged the plain of Ladon. This wild boar was released by the goddess Artemis to punish King Aeneas for forgetting to offer the customary sacrifice at the beginning of the harvest. The wild boar was killed. A meeting was held among those who participated in the hunt to distribute the spoils. The brave Atalanta, whom Meleager loved and who had struck the first blow against the animal, was considered deserving of the greatest honor, the head and skin of the animal. But Meleager's three uncles, Althea's brothers, opposed this. They threatened to take away Atalanta's prize. They thought it was unworthy to give the highest prize of the hunt to a woman. It was disgraceful. Worse, these uncles spoke rude and insulting words to Atalanta and Meleager. Unable to control his anger, Meleager fought with his uncles and killed two of them, Cepheus and Plexippus. When she heard that her own brothers had been killed by her son, Althea was extremely angry. She took out the piece of wood that she had hidden in the chest and threw it into the fire. And so, in the war between the Curetes and Elis, Meleager was killed. Meleager's death made Althea come to her senses. She was extremely painful, full of regret for her foolish actions, and committed suicide. Meleager died with a lot of bitterness in his heart. His sisters, known as the Meleagrids, wept bitterly for the destruction of the family. The goddess Artemis turned Meleager's sisters into chickens and sprinkled their feathers with their tears. And so, the girls turned into chickens. Only Deianira did not accept that fate. She lived alone with much anxiety. What would her life be like without anyone to rely on? It was something that Meleager worried about even after leaving this world. The shade of Meleager met the hero Hercules and begged him, "O Hercules, the famous hero, son of the great god Zeus, you have listened to my every sorrow and misery. I only ask one thing of you. Please have compassion for my unfortunate sister. Fate has taken me away too soon, leaving my sister alone in this turbulent life. How will she live without me in this world full of turmoil? Please help my sister's life for my sake. If you do not find her lacking in beauty, please be her protector for life, and tie her life to yours so that I can rest easy." Hercules listened to Meleager's words, tears streaming down his cheeks. He comforted Meleager's spirit and promised to fulfill his wishes. Guided by Hermes, Hercules continued his journey. The shadow of the monster Medusa approached him, and Hercules reached for his sword. But Hermes stopped him and explained that it was just a harmless shadow. Hercules witnessed many terrifying scenes in this dark and cold world of the dead. Finally, he arrived at the palace of the god Hades, who allowed him an audience. Sitting on his golden throne, the god who ruled over the kingdom of the dead, Hades, and his beautiful wife, Persephone, the daughter of the great goddess Demeter, looked at Hercules with admiration. He looked truly majestic, wearing a lion-skin cloak, carrying a bow and arrow, a sword at his side, and a large club in his hand. Hades asked, "O Hercules, son of the revered Zeus, why have you abandoned the world of golden sunlight under the god Helios to come to this dark kingdom? Does Zeus want to give me a hero, or are you here to steal my beautiful wife, Persephone?" Hercules respectfully replied, "O Hades, the god who rules over the dark realm of the dead, please do not be angry. I have come here not by my own will, but by the command of another. King Eurystheus, who rules in Mycenae in Argolis, favored by the goddess Hera, has ordered me to do a very difficult task to test the talent and courage of the son of Zeus, which is to capture the three-headed dog Cerberus. O Hades, the powerful lord of the Underworld, please allow me to do this task because Hercules cannot return to the world of sunlight until he has conquered the fierce Cerberus." Hades smiled and agreed to let Hercules capture Cerberus, but with one condition: he could not use any weapons. Hercules set out to find Cerberus and finally found him. He grabbed the dog's neck with his iron-like hands and squeezed it, pressing it to the ground. The three-headed dog barked loudly, and the kingdom of the dead trembled at the sound. Cerberus struggled but could not escape Hercules' grip. He retaliated with his poisonous tail, which was also a large snake, but it was useless. He became more and more breathless and struggled as if he was about to die. That's when Hercules wrapped a belt around his neck and led him away. He led him from the dark underworld to the bright world of the sun, where the three-headed dog was terrified by the bright light, and his eyes closed tightly. He was thrashing around like he was crazy. Drool from his three mouths dripped onto the ground, where poisonous plants grew that could kill anyone who ate them. When he returned to Mycenae, Eurystheus was so scared at the sight of the three-headed dog with a snake for a tail that he almost fainted. He immediately ordered Hercules to return Cerberus to Hades, so our hero had to go back to the underworld once again.